Hi guys, and welcome back to Tesla Electron. Keith here. Hope you've been having a great week. A lot going on in the news at the moment, of course, and that is one of the main news events was that Ford are going to split off their EV business from their combustion engine business. I thought I'd just do a little commentary along with the CNBC's news about this thing. I know it's a couple of days old, but I just sort of wanted to give you my idea, my viewpoint on where I think this is going. Let's get into it now.
Just breaking from Ford, it's fascinating. Phil LeBeau joins us with the latest. Phil.
Andrew, this is what people have been talking about for the last couple of weeks. Would Ford make a move to split off its EV business? And it has done that, though the business will remain within Ford. So here's the change, the restructuring, if you will, with Ford. It is splitting off its EV business into a separate unit within the company. It'll be called Ford Model E. CEO Jim Farley will run that division. It'll be focused on electric vehicles. What about the legacy business? That'll be Ford Blue, the internal combustion vehicles, which is the bulk of the business at Ford right now. That will be run by Kumar Golhotra, who is the head of Ford of Americas. So let's talk about each of these.
So let's have a quick chat about that up front. For a start, why are they doing this? They're doing this because they can see the writing on the wall. Their ICE engine manufacturing is just simply too hard to retool and to reshape and to restructure in order to make efficient EVs. One of the companies recently said that it's costing them between 50 and 60% more to make an EV than an internal combustion engine, an ICE vehicle. And so Ford aren't stupid. They know that this is coming and that they have to be able to separate these two things off. It's a little bit like the bear stuck in the bear trap, gnawing its leg off. So Ford is chopping off the old legacy part of its business, and they're putting a good spin on it. They've got great marketing guys, of course, but the truth is that they're chopping that off because they know that that is the leg that's stuck in the trap and it's going to die. So that's why they're really doing this. They're not doing this because they're being clever. No, they're going to split off their EV business because then they can start that build new factories, build new tooling, get the right talent in that can do what needs to happen now in the automotive industry, which of course is everything's becoming smarter. AI is going to be the forefront of mobility moving forward. And they don't have the talent in-house for that. They haven't got the programmers for that. They are in some deep doo-doo to be able to keep up with Tesla. Tesla have already done that. They've got them in-house. They're building the chips in-house. And so they are way ahead of the curve. Let's have a bit more of a listen to what CNBC had to say.
Divisions. With the Ford Model E, which is, again, the EV division, they're targeting production of 2 million EVs by 2026. They're also raising their guidance for 26. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. By 2030, they expect half of their global sales to be electric vehicles. They've got a long ways to go to catch up with Tesla when it comes.
I love that. They do have a long way to go to catch up with Tesla. A very, very long way to go. You know, if they think that only half of their fleet will be EV sales by 2030, they've completely missed the point. You know, like a lot of our oil comes from Russia, and we know what's happening there with Ukraine and all of that sort of stuff. I don't want to go down that political path. You know, obviously I care about people that are being taken over and things by a hostile nation. But the oil comes from there. Do you think that when the oil stops flowing, the prices won't go up? And when prices get to the point where people can't afford them, here in Australia, we've just hit $2 a litre for the first time, I think, ever. And so as that price increase continues, I'm getting more and more questions from my friends and my work colleagues about how much it costs me to run my Tesla Model 3. And when I say, oh, about $30 a week, so it's significantly cheaper. And so Ford is a long way behind Tesla. And if they think that they're just going to start ramping up now and all of a sudden they're going to somehow be able to catch up and overtake, they're sadly mistaken. They've got a lot of things to get over the line. We're moving from the world of Nokia, let's say, to the smartphone. It's a bit like sticking the old Nokia 3310 up against the iPhone. That's really what we're doing. And so, though there are some people who would have been very happy to have kept their Nokia 3310, they didn't do so because the smartphone simply became too smart. It became such a fantastic resource. I barely use my phone these days for talking on. I mostly use it for text. I use it for online things. I use it for viewing social media. Rarely do I use it to actually talk to somebody on. And you're probably very similar. The car's going to be ubiquitous to a smart transportation. Once FSD comes and AI really kicks in, then Ford are in, and the other OEMs, but Ford as well, will be in great trouble. Let's continue watching.
Comes to the EV market, they are number 2 in the U.S., but or number 3, I should say, but a very distant number 3. Look, Tesla has dominated this market. We've talked about that at some length, but the bulk of Ford's business will be, for the foreseeable future, internal combustion engine vehicles. They sold 3.94 million of those vehicles. Also, the best-selling vehicle in the country, which is the F-150, has been for more than 40 years. That's still a critical part of Ford's business. So now they're changing their guidance. Both of these.
Let's have a quick talk about this. They sold 3.94 million vehicles. Tesla sold almost 1 million vehicles, just EVs. Think about that, guys. Think about it. Ford, one of the largest car manufacturers, sold 3.94 million. It's only 4 times what Tesla are currently at. And these guys have been around for 100 years. They ought to be able to produce 4 million vehicles too. And they should be able to do it at a good price and leverage their experience. But the problem is they're moving into a technological age that they cannot compete in. They don't have the talent. They don't have the ability to be able to pivot. So what are they doing? They're splitting off that part of the business so that they can focus their attention on the new business opportunity, which is the electric vehicle revolution. And so you're starting to see a nail in the coffin of Ford. I hope they survive. Tesla cannot do the transition to electrification on their own. They desperately need the OEMs, and probably did need them to get on board maybe 10 years ago, but they didn't see it coming. They didn't believe it. They were the bear stuck in the bear trap. They didn't want to gnaw the leg off to get out of the trap, and Ford have just done exactly that. They're gnawing the old dead leg off so that they can move towards the new technology. So that's my thinking on it, guys. I think that it was a no-brainer that it was going to happen, and we'll see some of the other OEMs follow suit over the next couple of years, probably. By 2026, they're saying, like that's another 4 years away. 4 years away. And you've all saw the thing on Jim Cramer saying how wonderful the CEO of Ford is. Well, if he was so wonderful, he would have been ahead of this game long before he has to. See, there's a difference between being on the front foot, being ahead of the curve, and being dragged along because because that's the where the market is going. And so Ford are in the latter, unfortunately, as is many of the OEMs. They thought they had it all sewn up. They thought that they couldn't be beaten. Nobody could catch up with us. We're so good. Well, Tesla came along, didn't they? And they have completely disrupted the automotive industry. And that will not be the only industry that Tesla disrupt, because they are a technology company. They are an AI company at the forefront. The AI that they put into their vehicles will just be, on their AI day, their AI day, they said that they were building an artificial animal from the ground up. They're thinking differently. They want the vehicle to be autonomous. They want the vehicle to be not sentient, but they want it to be intelligent. They want to be a smart vehicle, not unlike a smart phone. And so, I think it's really, this is a turning point. We're seeing a turning point here in 2022, and Ford have highlighted this fact by splitting off both of their companies. One will be, as you saw, will be called EV Blue or something like that, and the other one will just be Standard Old Ford. Standard Old Ford will probably die over the next decade, and of course the EV part of the business will continue on. I hope Ford all the best. I wouldn't buy stock in Ford at this point. My opinion, not financial advice, of course. I wouldn't buy GM. Wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot barge pole. I wouldn't touch Ford until they get to the point where they are all in on EVs. Now, talk is cheap, and GM have said, of course, that they're all in on EVs, but they made 26 EVs last quarter. 26, not 2,600, not 26,000, but 26. So they are certainly not all in on EVs. They also, like Ford, will need to chop off the dead part of the business, which will be the ICE car business. And as fuel costs skyrocket globally over the next few years, it's going to be a no-brainer to move towards the electrification of transportation, which was completely the original goal of Tesla, to force that into being. And they've done so. They've done a great job. So good luck to Ford. I hope they can manage to pull this one off. Good luck to the rest of the old OEMs. I suspect that they won't survive. Lucid just, as I said in my video yesterday, have dropped the ball a bit. They've changed their guidance for how many vehicles they can produce. But I'm hoping the best for Lucid. I'm hoping the best for Rivian and all of the other EV manufacturers, the startups. They've got a far better chance of actually getting the talent that they need. That's the programming talent. That's the computer talent. That's the AI talent that they're going to need to make smart vehicles. So that's my take on it. I thought I would just have a bit of a chat to you this morning about that. And I hope you've enjoyed it. That's my take. Again, it's not financial advice, of course. I'm still all in on Tesla. And I noticed that Tesla was down a little bit today. Okay, so let's go and have a look at today's stock price for Tesla as a finish off. So today, $839.29, down $40, 4.61%. It's almost back to bargain basement prices, from my opinion. Again, anything under, say, $850 for me is a buy. So I'm looking to buy that. $839.29. As I said, it's a bargain basement price. And from my perspective, that's a buy. So I'll be buying over the next couple of weeks whilst Tesla's share price fiddles around, goes up, down, and all around the place, because it's a bargain. I've said this before. Once FSD comes, once they get Tesla Bot, or Optimus is their internal name for it, once they get those things running and they develop AI for the vehicle and they've got smart vehicles, it's a no-brainer. Mark my words, come back and have a look at this video in 10 years' time and tell me if I was wrong. But I reckon you're going to see at least a 10 to 100x from here once people realize just how good a Tesla is. And once the Model Y gets distributed worldwide, we're still waiting for it here in Australia. It hasn't been released here yet. But once it gets into Australia, it's a lot more expensive, of course, than the Model Y, the Model 3. You're looking at probably around about the 90,000 mark, but they will still sell like hotcakes because people are looking for that small SUV crossover so that they can get the kids to school, take the kids off to the sports and still get a really, really good range. And the Model Y does give excellent range. So that's my thoughts for today. I thought I would just talk about those things. And of course, happy charging. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and comment down below. Give me your estimate of where you think Tesla share price is going. And also, tell me, do you think which will be the next OEM to split off their old manufacturing from the new? Let me know in the comments. I'd be really interested. Okay, until next time, happy charging. I'll see you again soon. Bye.